Walt Disney grew up on several streets in a string of towns and states in the American Southwest in the early days of the 20th century, including Marceline, Missouri. It was here that Walt took courses at the Kansas City Art Institute and fell in love with the local cinema. The town had a big impact on Walt. It was where he saw his first circus and first film. Although he moved a lot in his youth, Walt saw Marceline as his hometown. From taking evening art classes as a teen in Chicago to working at an art studio in Kansas City, he launched his first company in 1920 when he was just 20 years old. Contracted to create 12 short films, the films were made with little or no income and the studio had trouble making ends meet. Just 2 years later, Walt was living in the office, taking baths once a week at nearby Union Station. It was here that he first got the idea for a cartoon mouse, inspired by the tame mice that would fight for cheese in his wastebasket when he was working alone late at night. "I grew particularly fond of one brown mouse," he said. "He was a timid little guy. When I left Kansas to try my luck at Hollywood, I hated to leave him behind, so I carefully carried him into the backyard, making sure it was a nice neighborhood, and the tame little fellow scampered to freedom." Disney asked lifelong friend and business partner Ub Iwerks to come up with a new character. After trying many different animals, it was a cartoon based on the old brown office mouse drawn by Iwerks that ultimately succeeded. On a train ride home from another failed office meeting, Disney came up with the character sketch for what the world would eventually call Mickey Mouse.
Oh, gosh.
Walt left the Midwest dreaming big, expensive dreams. It was Walt's embrace of new technologies and ability to apply them to his creative perfectionism that helped him ultimately gain success. During this time, his studio helped to create many of the techniques, concepts, and principles that later became standard practices of traditional animation. In Steamboat Willie, he gave the world its first sound cartoon. But Walt Disney went even further to create the first full-length animated movie. Disney sent his artists to courses at a renowned art institute and helped to develop one of the first multiplane cameras. For Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it took Disney and his team of artists 4 years to create. It went 3 times over its budget. It began to be said it would bankrupt the studios.
What do you do when things go wrong?
In fact, the film was not only the first full-length animated feature made with full color and sound.
Now, begin thy magic spell.
But went on to become the most successful motion picture of 1938. This was the beginning of the golden age of animation. Disney began to enjoy a comfortable success, but finding money for his next venture was a constant challenge. Roy was the bookkeeping man, the money man, the man trying to keep Walt under control. It was Roy who Walt sent to pitch to a group of New York businessmen for the financial backing for Walt's biggest dream yet, a new family fun park to be called Disneyland.